Hey team, I am Core, and before we start, a quick note. Erica is at a family reunion in the mountains without cell service, so she has asked me to run the show today. The most common W-4 mistake in the country is not filling it out wrong on day one. It is filling it out correctly on day one, then never touching it again after getting married, having a child, taking a second job, or launching a side business, and discovering the broken math in April when the bill arrives. That single form, updated or ignored, controls every federal tax dollar your employer withholds from every paycheck you will ever receive at this job.
The W-4 is formally called the Employee's Withholding Certificate. What it does in practice is give your employer the inputs they need to calculate how much federal income tax to take out of each paycheck. Change anything on the form, and you directly change the dollars that land in your bank account versus the dollars that go to the IRS in advance.
Last episode covered how withholding works as a system. Today we go inside the form itself. Step 1 for filing status, Step 2 for multiple jobs, Step 3 for dependents and the child tax credit, and Steps 4, Subpart A through C for other income and deductions. Then we cover the mistakes that silently break people's withholding math every year.
One important context point: the W-4 was redesigned in 2020. The old version used something called allowances. You would claim a certain number and your employer would adjust withholding based on those. The current form replaced allowances entirely with specific dollar amount adjustments in steps 2 through 4. If you have not looked at your W-4 since before 2020, the form is structurally different from what you remember.
Good point, Arjun. The W-4 is not a permanent decision. You can file an updated one at any time, and your employer must implement the change by the next payroll period or within 30 days at most. The IRS specifically recommends revisiting it whenever your personal situation changes.
Step 1 of the W-4 looks deceptively simple. Your name, your home address, your social security number, and your filing status. 3 of those 4 fields are just facts. The filing status choice is where Step 1 actually matters for withholding. There are 3 boxes: single or married filing separately, married filing jointly, or qualifying surviving spouse, and head of household.
The filing status you choose sets the baseline withholding tables your employer uses. If you check married filing jointly, your employer uses the MFJ withholding tables, which assume a lower combined effective rate because the MFJ brackets are wider. If you check single, the employer uses the single tables, which produce higher withholding. Segmals, our married worker who checks single will systematically over-withhold all year and get a larger refund than necessary.
Head of household is a real option for unmarried taxpayers who paid more than half the cost of maintaining a home for a qualifying dependent during the year. The head of household withholding tables produce lower withholding than single because the head of household tax brackets are wider than single brackets. But claiming it on the W-4 when you do not actually qualify misrepresents your situation, which can result in under-withholding and a balance due.
Married filing separately is the option that confuses people the most on the form, Core. The W-4 does not have a dedicated married filing separately box. If you are married but plan to file separately, usually for strategic or legal reasons, you select the first box, which reads single or married filing separately. Your withholding then runs at the same rate as single, which accurately reflects the narrower MFS brackets.
The bottom line on Step 1 is that the wrong filing status creates a systematic error that compounds across every single paycheck until you correct it. A married worker who forgot to change the form from single after their wedding could be over-withholding by hundreds of dollars per month. Checking the right box is the highest leverage 30 seconds in the entire form.
Step 2 addresses the situation where your household has more than one income source, you have a second job, or your spouse works. The design of the withholding tables assumes a single income. When there are two jobs, the combined income can push both earners into a higher bracket than either employer anticipates. Step 2 is the signal that tells your employer to withhold at a higher rate to account for this.
The first method for Step 2 is using the IRS tax withholding estimator online at irs.gov. You enter income from all jobs, your filing status, and other factors. The estimator outputs the specific dollar amount to enter in Step 4 Subpart C on your W-4. This is the most accurate option for households where the two incomes are significantly different in size, which is most households.
The second method is completing the multiple jobs worksheet that appears on page 3 of the W-4 instruction booklet. It is the same calculation the IRS estimator runs, just done by hand. You look up your combined annual wages in a table, find the additional withholding per pay period that closes the gap, and enter that number in Step 4 Subpart C. It takes about 5 minutes if you have both pay stubs in front of you.
Praised. The third option is simply checking the box in Step 2. Checking that box signals to your employer to use the higher single-column withholding table rather than the lower standard table, which increases withholding to account for the second income. This method is quick and reasonably accurate when both jobs pay roughly the same amount. When one job pays significantly more than the other, it can produce inaccurate results in either direction.
Good point, Arjun. When a worker skips Step 2 entirely, each employer withholds as if that job is the only income source, and the combined shortfall grows with the income gap between the two jobs. The larger the total combined income, the more money is missing when April arrives. Stick around through Scene 5, because the one Step 4 entry that covers side gig income is the one most freelancers never think to use.
Step 3 is where you claim the credits that directly reduce the tax your employer thinks you will owe. You enter dollar amounts, not a head count. Multiply your qualifying children by the credit amount and add other dependent credits. The more you enter, the less your employer withholds each paycheck.
For tax year 2026, the child tax credit is $2,200 per qualifying child. A qualifying child must be under 17 at the end of the tax year, related to you in a qualifying way, and must meet residency and dependency rules. A family with 2 qualifying children would enter $4,400 in Step 3. That signals to the employer to reduce withholding by $4,400 spread across the year's paychecks.
For dependents who are not qualifying children, an elderly parent you support, a college-age child over 17 who is still your dependent, the credit is $500 each. These are entered separately in Step 3 as the other dependent credits line. Adding these credits reduces withholding even when a person does not have young children, which surprises some workers who never knew the credit existed.
Tiled. The mechanics of how Step 3 affect your paycheck are straightforward, Zara. Your employer takes the total dollar amount you entered in Step 3 and divides it by the number of pay periods in the year. They then subtract that per period amount from the per period withholding. They calculate it based on your wages and filing status. The result is a lower amount withheld from each check because your credit will ultimately reduce your tax bill at filing.
The most common Step 3 error is simply forgetting to update the W-4 after a child is born. A parent who added a child at some point in the last few years but never updated their W-4 is over withholding by $2,200 per year relative to what they could be keeping in their paycheck. Every January and after any family change is the moment to revisit Step 3 specifically.
Step 4 has 3 parts, each labeled with a letter, and they are all optional. Deep 4, Subpart A is for other income. If you have income that is not covered by withholding, investment income, rental income, interest and dividends, or earnings from a side business, you can enter the estimated annual total here. Your employer will then withhold extra tax from your regular paycheck to cover that non-wage income.
Step 4 Subpart B works in the opposite direction. If you plan to itemize deductions and expect your itemized total to exceed the standard deduction, or if you plan to claim large above-the-line deductions like student loan interest or IRA contributions, you can enter the excess amount here. Your employer will then withhold less each paycheck because your taxable income at filing will be lower than a standard setup suggests.
Step 4, Subpart C, is the precision adjustment dial. A flat additional dollar amount withheld from every paycheck on top of the standard calculation. Some workers use it as a behavioral savings device for a modest refund. Others use it to cover a known income situation the earlier steps cannot cleanly express.
All 3 parts of Step 4 are completely optional. Carl. Most workers with a simple single job, standard deduction situation leave all of Step 4 blank. C. The IRS designs the default withholding to produce a reasonable outcome for that typical case. Step 4 becomes relevant when your situation adds complexity that the earlier steps cannot account for. Significant non-wage income, unusual deductions, or a fine-tuning goal.
Imagine a worker with a W-2 job and a side freelance business bringing in $12,000 a year. No tax is withheld on that freelance income, but entering $12,000 in Step 4 Subpart signals the W-2 employer to withhold additional federal tax each paycheck to cover it. That one entry avoids both quarterly estimated payments and an April surprise.
The most widespread W-4 mistake in 2-income households is both spouses selecting married filing jointly in Step 1 and leaving Step 2 completely blank. Each employer sees a married worker and applies the MFJ tables designed for a single earner household, so both employers independently underwithhold without either one knowing about the other job. The household owes a balance in April and cannot understand why.
The second pattern that causes year after year problems is not updating the W-4 after a life change. Getting married, getting divorced, having a child, losing a child as a dependent because they turned 17 or became independent, starting a side business, or taking a second job, all change the withholding math in ways that the existing form cannot compensate for automatically. The form only knows what you told it when you last filed it.
A subtler version of the same mistake is staying at the same employer for years without reviewing the W-4. Tax brackets, the standard deduction, and credits like the child tax credit are all adjusted annually, so a W-4 from 2020 is running on 5-year-old inputs. The IRS recommends reviewing it every January.
POSA, the practical rule is straightforward. Core. Review your W-4 every January, using your prior year's return as a reference, then update it within 30 days of any major life change. When the situation is complex, the IRS online estimator outputs the exact numbers to write on the form in about 10 minutes.
If you forget everything else in this video, remember this. The W-4 is the control panel for your own paycheck, and you are the one who sets the dials. Every step on that form has a direct dollar-for-dollar effect on what your employer takes out versus what lands in your bank account. Drop in the comments, when did you last update your W-4, and what life change finally pushed you to do it?
Okay, it is quiz time. Let's find out what stuck. T. All Think through each question carefully before you answer.
Liking and subscribing is the only thing we ask for, ever. Everyone's asked for a lot lately. This one is free.
What is the purpose of Step 2 on the current W-4 form? The correct answer is A. It signals to your employer that more than one income exists in your household, so they withhold at a higher rate that accounts for the combined income, pushing you into a higher tax bracket.
How much should a parent with 2 qualifying children under 17 enter in Step 3 of their W-4 for the 2026 tax year? The correct answer is C. $4,400, which is $2,200 per qualifying child, multiplied by 2 children, entered as a dollar amount in Step 3.
A worker has a W-2 job and earns $12,000 a year from freelance work. Which W-4 step is the most appropriate place to account for that freelance income to avoid an April tax surprise? The correct answer is A. Step 4, Subpart A, where you enter the estimated annual amount of non-wage income, so your employer withholds additional federal tax from your regular W-2 paycheck to cover that income.
Every dollar that comes out of your paycheck for federal income tax traces back to a form you may not have touched in years. The W-4 has 6 steps, and most workers need to review 3 of them at a minimum every time their life situation changes. Knowing what each step does puts you in control of that dollar flow.
3 years from now, you will thank yourself for taking 20 minutes to review your W-4 today, because every paycheck between now and then will be calibrated to your actual life, rather than to the situation you were in when you first started that job.
Next episode, the one box on your W-2 that tells you whether your employer withheld correctly, and why most workers never check it before handing the form to their tax software.
Subscribe to follow every episode in the Taxes series. We cover the full system in plain language, from your first paycheck all the way to the forms that arrive after retirement.
Wada, Cole, studying.
Prop route. Do not let the dry parts fool you. Every topic has drama. See you next time.
Erica just sent a voice memo. Texan, it is 45 seconds of, quote, tay che che. That is how you explain it.
Core. Signing off.